Hello, my name is Alex, and in this video I'm going to take you through the process of setting up your own WordPress website or blog step by step. We're going to begin at the beginning with a domain name, which will be your site's address on the internet. You'll be very familiar with other examples of domain names like Amazon.com or Apple.com. Next, we'll set up hosting, which is where your website files will actually be stored on the internet. For these two, I'll show you our trusted partner Bluehost, but more about them shortly. Once we have the domain name and hosting, you'll need to install WordPress, then set it up using a theme. We'll add some content to the site at this stage, examples of posts and pages, and we'll run over the difference between the two. For some key functionality on your site, you'll need to add plugins. These are like apps that you add to a smartphone. Each plugin provides some functionality to the site, like a contact page or email list. There are literally thousands to choose from. Then the home stretch. I'll show you how to use menus and widgets to access and display content in specific areas of your site. Then lastly, we'll run over one or two housekeeping tips that will help for your site. For the domain name and hosting, I'm going to work with Bluehost. You'll find the links to these guys plus other resources in the comment section below. You can choose the package that suits you. The main difference here is the number of websites you can host. You may decide that this is the start of your website empire and take a large package straight off. Or if you do start small, then Bluehost will of course allow you to upgrade. Now it's decision time. And this is not to be taken lightly. You'll need to think what your WordPress or blog is about and what name is descriptive, catchy and memorable. Enter your chosen name and Bluehost will register it free for a year. The regular charges will kick in after 12 months. I'll go ahead and enter my domain name for this example, quite a mouthful, colorlib.testsite.com. The next part is pretty standard personal details. Fill out the form, and when you get to the package information, we're going to uncheck a few items. I will opt out of domain privacy. I don't see the value, and in my experience, the impact of potential spammers is minimal. I'll also remove backup and site security. Backup we can achieve for free using a WordPress plugin on WordPress itself. We're not covering those details in this video, but do check out our archive where there's a dedicated video on this topic. Once the package is where we want it, enter your card details, accept the terms and conditions, and hit submit. You'll receive your login details via email, and when you log in, you'll land here on the control panel. From here, we'll be kicking off the WordPress installation, but first we have to do some slight technical things around the domain name, particularly if you decided to take multiple website packages. Click on Domains. If you see only one domain name and it's marked as primary, you can probably skip forward a minute or so on this video and pick up with us again when we actually start installing WordPress. Otherwise, if your domain section looks like this, with the new domain showing as unassigned, let's keep going. Click on the domain name and ensure that the add-on radio button is selected here. And then further down the page, that the Create New Directory is also selected. The new directory name does not have to be the same as the domain name, but it certainly does cut down on confusion. With these two items verified, click Assign. If we take a look, we see there is a placeholder page where our website should be. So now it's time for us to install WordPress. Click WordPress Tools from the top menu and then New Install from the menu on the left. Select the domain in question, give your site a title, which you can change later, and then choose an admin username and password and enter a suitable email address. Now this email address will be important as password recovery and important information emails are sent to this address. Click Install WordPress and the system will work its magic. If we go back to the site and click Refresh, the hosting page is gone and it's replaced by a WordPress holding page, which is progress. There is a button here to log in as admin, which we will click and enter the admin dashboard section of WordPress. To access this directly, just type in your domain name, followed by a / and then add wp-admin. This is the interface where we'll do all the config and setup for the WordPress website. Down the left-hand side are all the dashboard sections, and we'll touch on most of these during this video. So, we have a domain name and hosting and WordPress installed. Now we need to set it up how we want it to look. The theme we choose will play a big part here. Go to Appearance, then Themes, scroll down and click Add New. I'm going to work with a theme that I recommend called Shapely. So in the search bar on the right, enter Shapely. When you see it in the search results, click Install and then click Activate. With the new theme now active, we'd expect to see something happening on the actual website, but when we navigate there, it's still the holding page. With Bluehost, we need to switch off the Coming Soon mode so that we can see the actual website that we're creating. To do this, select Settings from the left menu and then General, and right at the bottom is a button to turn this off. Back at the website, if we click Refresh or F5 on the keyboard, we'll reload the website and the bare bones of the Shapely theme are now showing on our WordPress website. The next few steps we'll cover will put some meat on these bones of the theme, specifically configuring the theme and adding some content in the form of posts and pages. Navigate to the Appearance and then Custom menus, and you'll see the customizing window for this theme. Each of the menus on the left are customizable options for the site. We'll work through them now. Themes can vary greatly in how much they let you customize and how flexible that customization can be. If you're not sure what to do, it's often a case of trial and error in selecting options. But the nice thing is that this live preview window lets you see what it will look like before it's actually live on the site. Taking the first option, we can edit the theme options. Here you can change the website display name, the title. In this section, you can set up a call to action button in the bottom area called the footer. This could be an invitation to sign up to your newsletter or to buy your product. This section also allows you to pick your color scheme. If you don't like how it looks, you can reset by clicking Default. In the blog settings section, you can change the blog page title, plus decide the alignment of the sidebar, either to the left, to the right, or none. The sidebar is an area of the website reserved for widgets, and we'll cover this in a bit more detail later. Also in this section, you can pick a header image. Let's do that now. Click on the Add New Image button, and the WordPress Media Library will open. Being a new installation of WordPress, your library is most likely going to be empty, so select the Upload Files tab and choose a picture from your local machine. Once it's uploaded, you can select it for the header image. Background image follows a similar pattern to the header image, selecting it from your machine and uploading, and it displays across the whole back of the website. Pretty straightforward stuff. In the footer section, you can enter text that will appear at the bottom of each and every page on your site. Although commonly used for copyright notices, you can put anything in here really. Menus and widgets I'm going to cover separately in a moment, so the last one for me to cover in this section is the home page. The choices here are your latest posts or a static page. If this is going to be a blog type website where you write posts that will be displayed in a chronological order, like the entries in a diary, then you can stick to the post option. The static page allows you to set up a home page or a welcome page that viewers will see when they first land on the site. This is most often used on more commercial sites. If you choose the static page option, then a drop-down menu will become available and you can choose the page you want to show. In my case, I've only got a sample page created right now. But as I want this as a blog-style website, I'm going to keep it as the post options here. I'm not going to cover the advanced CSS in this video, as the name suggests it's for advanced users, and while it can be a powerful feature, it's also pretty easy to get wrong and risk breaking the site. I'm happy with all those settings, so I will click Publish and check out the site. And among other things, here we have our header image, so those settings have all taken effect. So let's turn our attention to populating the site with some content, specifically some posts and pages. In this section, I'll show you how to create content, including adding text via the editor, highlighting a section as a quote, adding some bullets, making a link to a web page, adding images, and lastly adding a video. From the dashboard, navigate to the Posts menu and select Add New. This is the post editing page. In the top, I will paste the title for my post, and in the editor section below, I will paste some content that I've prepared. Or you can just go ahead and start typing in this section as well. I'll select a passage of text that I want to stand out as a quote or a more highlighted piece of text. Then from the toolbar, I'll click this speech marks icon and the text is indented. To make a bullet list, select the text and then click this bullet icon and the bullets are added. To make a word or a phrase into a hyperlink, you select it and then click this link button. Enter the URL you want to link to, and for more options you can click this settings icon. In the screen, we see that we can set the target page to open in a new window. This is probably the way to go, as it means your website will also remain open in the browser and the visitor can return and see more of your site when they're done. The section below allows you to link to an internal page on your website. Here you enter a search term to narrow down the selection of pages, and then you would click on one to choose it. I now want to add an image to this blog post. So I will place my cursor at the point I want the image to appear and click Add Media from the top menu here. I'll choose the Upload Image tab and find a suitable image on my computer, which I'll upload to the WordPress media library. Once selected, I click Insert and can position the image within the post. These controls determine how the text will wrap around the image, either to the right, centered, or to the left. WordPress natively supports embedding YouTube videos. This means there's no complex coding required to add a video to this blog. Navigate to your video on YouTube and copy the whole address. Then switch back to your post editor and paste the code where you want the video to appear. Okay, I'm happy with this post. The next step is to publish it. You can use these controls on the upper right section to set the publication date and time in the future. This is really helpful if you're writing a series of posts now that you want to trickle feed to your site over time. I'm happy to publish this one immediately, so I'll revert the date time and click Publish. To see the post we've just written, click on this link and it will open in the browser. The image looks good. We see the quotation text shows up nicely compared to the regular text. The link we set up is blue to indicate that it links somewhere, and when we click it, it works. So too does the video, which starts playing when clicked as well. I want to take a moment to distinguish between a post and a page within WordPress. The post, like the one we just completed, is meant to be displayed in chronological order on a blog. It features the publication date, the author, often people add comments as well. A page, on the other hand, is more static and mostly used for information type content that perhaps doesn't change. This would include About Us details and maybe a contact page. We'll go ahead and create these two examples of pages now. Back on the dashboard, click Pages this time and click Add New. The editor is the same one as for the posts, allowing you the same editing and formatting options that we saw a moment ago. I'll once again paste in some prepared content and this time show you one other editor feature, the preset formats. Select your text and then select from the list of preset formats. These are great because they help you keep your main headings and subheadings all uniform across the site. I'm happy with the rest of this page, so I'll go ahead and click Publish. The second page I mentioned was a contact page. For this we'll have to extend WordPress a little and install a plugin. Now you'll remember these plugins are like apps on a smartphone. You install little pieces of functionality to the site with each one. In this case, a contact form we need that will capture the visitor details and a message and send it to me in an email. To install, we'll need to go to the Plugins menu on the left and click Add New. Then in the search bar on the right, enter Contact Form 7. When the results return, click Install and then click Activate. When it's done, WordPress opens the main plugin screen and we see the Contact Form plugin is listed here. Click the settings and we'll see how it's set up. There is one default contact form that comes with the installation, and for our needs it will work just fine. If you wanted to edit this one, you can click Edit and you can change the headings of the fields here. You can see that the form is currently set up to ask for name, email address and a message. We could also change the label on the button. The next tab lets us customize the mail we receive, where it gets sent and how the data is presented. Then on the third tab, we can customize the wide variety of messages that get shown to the visitor. I don't need to change any of these, but you could choose to personalize it if you wish. Perhaps your message could mention your commitment to replying to their message. I don't have any additional settings to add, so I'll click Save to keep my changes. To get this form onto my contact web page, all I need to do is copy this shortcode and paste it onto the page in the editor. The shortcode is a little bit of code that lets you use some functional feature without having to actually code it yourself. As the name sounds, it's a shortcut to a code. So we'll create a new page, give it a title, Contact Us, and paste the shortcode from the Forms plugin into the editor. Click Publish and then click the preview link. And presto, the contact form is up and running, including the edit I made to the button text. You can slot this shortcode onto any page at any point, or equally add some text around it, which I'll do here just to make it a little bit more personal. Hit the Update button and return to the web page. Click Refresh and the changes are present. I'll enter my details, and when I click Submit, I get the successful feedback message. So I said earlier that posts were blog entries that were displayed chronologically, and this means as we publish more, they'll automatically show up on the website. The pages we've just created don't do this, so we need to make a menu structure so visitors can access them. Setting up menus is found in the Appearance section and then click Menus. Give the menu a name and click Create. Now the page shows us the elements we can add to the menu. Here on the left is the list of pages we just created. Put a tick in the box to select them and then click Add to Menu. Expand each one and there are some settings. You can make the menu item name different to the page name if you want, and you can also delete the item from the menu by clicking here. I tend to keep this box unchecked. I don't want every page I create to end up as a menu item automatically. I'll rather choose them. And lastly, this box determines where on the page the menu will be shown. In this case, in the primary menu slot. Click Save and let's have a look at the results. Each page is now a menu item, and when you click it, it opens the correct page. But we're missing a home page item on this menu. So back to the menu section. This time we'll choose a custom link and input the home page address. We'll call this menu item Home and add it to the menu like we did the other two. We can drag and drop menu items around to get the order that we want, and Home is most commonly found as the first menu option on websites, so we'll move it to the top. Click Save. And back on the website, after I click Refresh, the Home button is visible and it takes me home. The next part of WordPress I'm going to show you is widgets, and you'll find these in the Appearance menu. A widget is a little block that performs a specific function. Examples include a search bar, or a listing of categories, or a newsletter sign-up box. These are added and displayed in widget-ready areas known as sidebars. The widgets we have available are shown on the left of this screen, and the sidebar real estate where we can have them shown is on the right. If we quickly go back to our site, this area over here is the sidebar, and within it is a search bar, archive, categories, recent posts, and a few more. Back in the widget section, these are shown as blocks here in the sidebar. If you expand them, often there is some configurable settings. In this case, the recent post widget allows you to change the number of posts shown. At the moment, it's 5. To remove a widget, just drag and drop it back over to the left. I've decided to thin these out a little, so I only want 3 on my sidebar. Back on the site, and when I click Refresh, there are now only 3, the search bar at the top, and then these other 2. There are loads of widgets to choose from. You can have a listing of your pages, or this one could be useful. It allows you to simply place text in a block. Let's try adding a widget, this time to the footer sidebar area. Adding is the same drag and drop action that removing was. I'll pick the recent comments widget and drag it over to the right and drop it in the footer sidebar where I want it to appear. After a refresh on the website, when I scroll all the way down to the bottom of the page, the footer sidebar displays this recent comments widget here. Before I wrap up, there are 2 quick housekeeping things that I want to mention that are often overlooked. The first is how the website address bar looks. By default, WordPress shows this format, with the date and then the post name making up the address. But this is fairly ugly, so we tend to change it. In the dashboard, click Settings menu and then choose Permalinks. This is the one that's set, and my preference is to have just the post name showing and not to worry about the date, which is this one. Select it, click Save, and when we reload the page, the date part of the address isn't showing anymore. While we're in the Settings menu, the other thing I'd like to show you is the Search Engine setting. Click the Reading menu and scroll down to the bottom to find the Search Engine Visibility setting. This should not have a tick in it, as we want to be found. Why else are we creating this website? Click Save and the settings will be changed. Thank you very much for watching this video on setting up your WordPress website end to end. Here's a quick recap on what we've covered in the last 30 minutes or so. We set up a domain name, your address on the internet. We selected a hosting package, which is where your website files live on the internet. Within that package, we installed WordPress. Using themes and plugins, we customized and expanded the website. We published posts and pages, set up menus, and added functions to the site via widgets in the sidebar. I hope you found this useful in your journey to create an online presence. If you have any questions or comments, please add them to the discussion below, and please like our video. Do check out the rest of our channel. We've got loads of videos focusing on a range of specific WordPress related topics which I'm sure you'll find really useful. Bye for now.